Now, over 35,400 people were killed by the two strong quakes that jolted southern Turkey on February the 6th. The magnitude 7.7 and 7.6 tremors last week were centered in Kahramanmaraş and struck 9 other provinces. And now we bring you live pictures from Kahramanmaraş, the epicenter of the quake, where another story of survival is coming through. We're hopefully waiting on Melike İmamoğlu from Kahramanmaraş. This is 222 hours into the earthquake and it's day 10. So truly another miracle. He is hoping, and we pray that Melike İmamoğlu will come out and will be safe and healthy. These are search and rescue operations ongoing since the quakes first struck, 7.7, 7.6 magnitude, almost 10 hours apart. February. And now this is live from Kahramanmaraş, where a Melike İmamoğlu is hopefully going to be brought out to safety. There you can see members of the fire department, the gendarmerie, members of the Turkish Armed Forces, members of the Emergency and Management Agency, members of search and rescue teams that have been working ongoing around the clock for 10 days now. You can see the ruins there of collapsed buildings. The damage and devastation is absolutely irrevocable in the southeastern part of the country. The buildings there have turned into heaps of rubble and concrete slabs. And it truly is a miracle for a survivor to come out of what we can see here on our screens. Even just immediately after the earthquake, much less 10 days after. It's been 222 hours where search and rescue operations have been ongoing. These team members have been working around the clock tirelessly in hope of trying to find and pull out as many people alive as possible. The teams on the ground have been joined by teams from overseas as well. Many countries have come forward, not only in their support with aid and necessities and health aid, but also sent their teams out and have been working on the ground in collaboration with Turkish teams. We've seen teams from China, India, Pakistan, United States, Australia, Canada, Great Britain, France, Germany, and volunteers from all walks of life from all over the world and all over the country have flocked to the area to try and help out in any way they possibly can. And now, hopefully, Melike İmamoğlu, on the 222nd hour, 10 days following the earthquake, will be saved from the rubble. The teams have been using thermal cameras to detect any heat from beneath the wreckage, and also special listening devices for any sounds that come through, and various other specialized equipment used for these purposes. They've been digging corridors, removing rubble, to be able to establish these corridors, these life corridors, if you like, to be able to bring people out to safety. Any survivors that remain alive beneath these concrete slabs and wreckage. We've seen the teams move rubble and debris out of the way with the use of buckets. Sometimes we've seen more rudimentary methods in play, and sometimes we've seen the more technical equipment come into play to try to establish these corridors and bring people out to safety. Weather conditions have been very unfavourable. It's winter, it's cold, there's been a lot of snow, and snow still remains in some of the more rural areas, the remote parts, further out from the city centres. But rescue teams have tried their utmost to also reach out to those areas. And unfortunately, we've had losses in all the areas, not just in the main city centres, but also in the villages and the rural parts of the region as well. The toll sits at around 35,500 now, despite the stories of survival coming through and emerging from the region. Turkey is in mourning for the lives that we have lost. The government organizations, the non-government organizations, volunteers have all been mobilized and dispatched to the area. The fire departments, ambulance services, health services, the Gendarmerie, the Turkish Armed Forces have all been mobilized for 10 days, 222 hours since the devastation struck southeast Turkey. 10 provinces have been affected very, very severely, including Gaziantep, Adıyaman, Kilis, Malatya, Şanlıurfa, and several others. More than 13 million people have been affected directly, but in fact 80 million have been affected. The whole of the country is in mourning, and all our hearts and prayers are with those in the area that has been devastated by the twin quakes that occurred on the 6th of February. It's been 10 days now, 222 hours, and these are true miracles that we witness here. Located beneath this wreckage that you see here of a collapsed building. She has miraculously been able to stay alive for 222 hours. And we continue to pray for her and for all the others that will hopefully be able to come out alive. Syria and Lebanon also felt the strong tremors that struck Turkey in the space of less than 10 hours. 13,208 injured are still receiving treatment in hospitals in both countries. The Turkish Disaster and Emergency Management Presidency, AFAD, said in a statement, quote, more than 249,000 search and rescue personnel are currently working in the field. Over 195,900 people have been evacuated from the quake-hit regions so far, and condolences have poured in from around the world, expressing solidarity with Turkey, with many countries sending rescue teams and aid. And a total of over 9,000 foreign personnel from 82 nations are currently working in the disaster zone. And over 100 countries have offered assistance so far, with 2 more expected to send rescue teams. And now, hopefully, we're going to see Melike İmamoğlu come out to safety in Kahramanmaraş, where you can see the work and rescue operations are continuing, and team members are trying their utmost to bring her out. The survivors and victims from the quakes are also wanting to, and hopefully starting to, very slowly but surely rebuild their lives. Makeshift tents have been set up, tent cities have been set up across the 10 provinces for temporary shelter for the victims. Hotels have opened their doors in other provinces around Turkey for the victims to go and stay if they choose. Train stations, train carriages, mosques and sports centres, civic centres, just to name a few, are places where people and survivors of the earthquakes are seeking refuge and accommodation. But there is still a desperate need for aid materials and necessities that have been pouring in from not only in the country but from all over the world, and we are very humbled and extend our gratitude to all those countries who have shown solidarity and compassion with the Turkish people. It looks like hopefully we're coming closer now to seeing Melike İmamoğlu, who is being rescued here 222 hours, 10 days after the twin quakes struck Kahramanmaraş province, the epicenter of the quakes that devastated 10 provinces across the southeast region. There you can see the team members have lined up and the survivors are placed on stretchers with immediate first aid applied as soon as they come out. And oftentimes we see the medical teams waiting with a drip that the patient is put on, or the survivor is put on, and neck braces to try to avoid them from moving their necks. This has been what we've seen so far, common practice that's taken place right after the survivors have been retrieved from beneath the wreckage. Another story of survival is hopefully about to emerge from the region, Melike İmamoğlu, 222 hours after the earthquake. Here we see more movement, and yes, here she is. She's emerged. Here she's on the stretcher, and as I said, she's there. She's been placed on a drip, and she's being taken to an ambulance now to be taken to the nearest hospital or medical facility for immediate treatment. And we pray and hope that Melike will be healthy and will continue with her life following this trauma and devastation. Melike İmamoğlu, 222 hours since the earthquake struck. This has been 10 days. Another true miracle by any standard here in Kahramanmaraş. We've seen babies as young as 20 days old. In fact, we've seen a newborn child come out from the rubble in both Turkey and Syria. Young children, teenagers, men, women of all ages. Here we're witnessing another miracle from Kahramanmaraş. And now we see the members of the search and rescue teams clapping and cheering in jubilation, rightfully so. These members have been working around the clock tirelessly to try to bring out as many survivors as possible. Emotions are very raw and heightened, understandably so, as we watch from our screens, holding our breaths, praying for more and more survivors. They're on ground zero, working tirelessly to try and bring these people out to safety.